Daryl Jackson, the Federal Financial Group. Federal Financial Group is a national service organization which works with many insurance companies and other financial institutions. Many of these companies have been in business over 100 years and have billions of dollars in assets. What we do is teach people about money, how it works, and how it can work better for you. Our goal is simply to help you become financially independent. And what does financial independence mean? Financial independence means that the money that you put away from your savings, the interest that you get every year, can replace your salary. So at this point, you're financially independent. You don't have to work anymore. You can work if you decide to, but you don't have to. You are financially independent. What I'm going to do next is go through some issues and challenges that we face today, as well as some solutions. Over the last 10 years, incomes have increased, yet the cost of living has also increased. Maintaining a home is more expensive. The cost of food, the cost of gas, everything has increased. So the increase in salary really hasn't kept up with the cost of living. And what happens at this point is that people go into debt. They use their credit cards, they're in debt. They also have a lack of security, and they tend to have they're not disciplined in savings anymore. People aren't saving any money. What we found is that out of 100 people turning age 65 today, only four are financially independent, which means there's 96 that aren't. So what are those 96 people doing? Well, they are living off charity, they're living off friends, or like most people at age 65 today, they're still working. You see them at Walmart every day. As a matter of fact, a few months ago, I had my children with me, and we were walking into Wendy's, and it was a cold, rainy day. It was one of those real bitter cold days. As soon as you get out of the car, you can just feel the cold just go through your bones. But we walked into Wendy's, and as soon as we walked in, I saw an older guy. He had to be 70, maybe 75 years old, sweeping the floor. So we sat down, we started eating our food, and I looked over a few tables over, and the guy was on his knees scraping gum off the bottom of a table. And I thought to myself, wow, 75 years old, really? So when we were done, we were walking back out to the car. Like I said, it was rainy, it was cold. We were running to get back into the car with the kids, and I looked over in the parking lot, and I could see the same guy, the same 70, 75-year-old guy dragging trash bags across the parking lot to the dumpster. And I thought to myself, wow, this guy's got to be 70, 75 years old. He's sweeping floors, scraping gum off the bottom of a table, taking trash out in the cold, rainy, nasty night. And I thought to myself, there's no way this guy thought to himself that he'd be doing what he's doing today 20 years ago. There's no way. But he has to work. Obviously, he has to work. He's out of money. So he has to drag that trash across the parking lot in that cold rain. He's out of money. He has to. Now, what I'm going to talk about are some 7 steps that we go through to help you become financially independent. I'm going to rip through these pretty quickly, but keep in mind which ones are most important to you. What we do is we web these together to help you become financially independent quicker, to help you eliminate debt, to increase your cash flow, and like I said, to become financially independent much faster. Now, the first step is track your earnings and expenditures. Inspect what you expect. What we do is we have a tool that we use to help you keep track of your income and your expenditures. It's always good to know, where your money is going. This way you can keep a track on how you can possibly come up with some extra cash that you may not know that you have. It's always good to know where your money's going. This way you have a better way to manage your financial affairs. Secondly is to increase your cash flow. um, what we do is go through some of your expenditures to see where it is that you may have some additional money. Um, Put you on a budget, help you find some additional money. For example, I had a client a few weeks ago and I asked him a simple question: do you get a tax return or do you pay taxes at the end of the year? And what he told me was he normally gets back around $3,000 each year. So I said to him, well, what you're telling me is that you let the federal government hold your $3,000 for over a year. You charge them no interest, and they pay you no interest. And at the end of the year, they give you back your money with no interest. Does that make any sense? And he said, wow, that's true, I don't. So what we try to do is show you how you can have that money back in your pocket quicker. It can help you reduce your debt and also help you, save some money so that you can retire a little bit quicker. Does that make sense? Great. Step 3 is eliminating debt. We have a program that we use where we look at all your debt. We put your information in this program, and it can show you how you can eliminate your debt much faster using the same payment that you're using today. It's a very powerful tool. Step 4 is develop an emergency fund. Now, emergency fund is something that all of us should have in case of things come up. For example, if your car breaks down today, that $1,500 transmission, do you have that money sitting around? If not, what you're going to do is, first thing you're going to do is go to your plastic, pull out your credit card, and now that $1,500 transmission in a year or two becomes a $3,000-$4,000 transmission. Doesn't make any sense. Now, to develop an emergency fund, what we suggest are 4 things. First of all, it should be safe. It should be in a place where you're not going to lose any money. Secondly, you should get a better interest rate than a checking account. Have you ever tried to save money or put away an emergency fund in a checking account? It just doesn't happen. If you need $50 here, $100 there, here's where you're going to get that money. So it has to be completely liquid, and it should be separate from your checking account, funded systematically, which means that put it in a money market account, something that's giving you a little bit better return than a checking account, where you could say put in $50 every month on a systematic basis, so that money starts to add up. That money's for you. Again, if there's an emergency that comes up, you have the money. You're not going into your retirement funds and getting hit with those 10% penalties. Next is protect what you have. What we do is talk to you about how to protect your family from a loss of life, which means a loss of income. Because when one member of the family passes, the father, the mother, so does their income. So who's going to pay the mortgage? Who's going to pay the light bills? What we do is we do it a little bit differently. We show you how to put away the money to protect the family, but also to have cash flow. It's very, very important that you're able to protect your family. Step 6 is the biggest one. And if you listen to me now, this could change the quality of your life. This is the biggest step. This is the one that most people like the best. Step 6 is about saving, long-term savings or retirement income. Now, there's 2 elements that come into play here. And there's 2 battles that you have to win in order to win the money game. Because if you don't incorporate these two, and I have to be very firm with you now, you'll never win, or you'll never become financially independent. And if you do, it's going to be way out there. So the 2 battles that you have to win are, 1, the inflation battle, and we'll talk about that in a minute, and 2, the tax battle. It's taxes. It doesn't really matter how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. And if you're not careful, taxes can really, really hurt. Now let's talk about inflation. Have you ever heard of the rule of 72? I'll explain it to you. It's really interesting. The rule of 72 is that if you have, if you're saving money in a savings account or wherever it is that you're saving your money, and let's say you're at 4%, okay? You're at 4%, and you take that and divide it into 72. So 4 divided into 72 is 18. So in 18 years, your money would double. Okay? So whatever the interest rate is, you divide it by 72 to determine how quickly your money is going to double. Now let's say, for example, you have $100. You put that money into a savings account at 4%. In 18 years, your money is going to double. You're going to have $200. In another 18 years, you're going to have how much? Great, $400. But here's the problem. In 36 years, in 36 years, is $400 going to buy today what $100 is? $400 in 36 years going to buy what $100 buys today? Probably not, right? And that's the problem. Now, and that's basically inflation. So if people are saving money, where are they saving it? They're putting it in banks, credit unions, fixed accounts. They're probably not even getting 4%. So you can see what's happening. You're losing purchasing power. And quite frankly, you may never retire. So the solution is to help people get a higher rate of return. Let's say anywhere from 6 to 12%. Let's look at this example. Let's look at this for example. Let's assume you're 29 years old. You have $10,000 at 4%. You divide that 4% into 72 again. In 18 years, your money's going to double. So at age 65, that $10,000 now has turned into $40,000. Now you're 65 years old, you're ready to retire, the kids are gone, your mortgage is paid off, and you want to retire, but you have $40,000. How long is that $40,000 going to last? Maybe a year, maybe a year and a half. Excuse me. You have that $40,000 and it's gone. So what are you going to do? You don't have any time. You're out of money. You're a greeter at Walmart. And here's the problem. The only thing that you could have done to change your situation is to get a higher interest rate. Here's the $1,000,000 question. What could you have done if you had a 6 or 12% interest rate instead of that 4%? Would you now be in a greater financial independence situation? The answer is yes. Now, let's take an example. We looked at this example at 4%. And at 4%, your money doubles at every 18 years. Let's look at 6%. Every 12 years at 6%, your money is going to double. So at age 65, instead of having 40,000, you now have 80,000. So get 8%. And at 8% divided by 72, your money doubles every 9 years. So that same $10,000 at age 65 is now $160,000. Now let's say you got 12%. Every 6 years, your money is going to double. So at age 65, you now have $640,000. $640,000. The only difference between this guy with the $640,000 and this guy with the $40,000 is the interest rate. It's the same $10,000. It's the same 36 years. The only difference is the interest rate. And it cost this guy $600,000. Now, it's not about saving $10,000. It really isn't. The key is saving a little bit on a monthly basis at a decent interest rate. If you save for you at a decent rate, there'll come a time where your money will be out earning you rather than you out earning money. Now, let's use another example. Now, well, the question is, where can you get a decent rate of return, have your money protected, and not guaranteed to lose any of your interest? Actually, there's 3 different strategies that I'm going to talk about. And you tell me which one makes the most sense for you, that's most suitable for you. The first is the fixed account. We talk about a fixed account, you're talking about a savings account at a bank, a checking account. The reason that you go to the bank and put your money in a savings account or checking account is why? Because it's safe. You're exactly right. It's safe. You're not going to lose any money, but at the same time, you're not going to get any interest. Today, bank accounts are paying, what, 1-2%. So that you have the risk of inflation. You're not even keeping up with inflation at this point. On the other end, we have the stock market. Okay? And with the stock market, a lot of people are putting their money in the stocks, mutual funds, get a higher rate of return. But it's risky because you can lose money. And you can lose quite a bit of money. Just ask some of the people about their 401k plans over the last 5-10 years. They've lost a lot of money. Or you can go to the index strategy. And what the index strategy will do is get you a guaranteed fixed rate. No, excuse me. You go to the index strategy. The index strategy is based off the S&P 500, which over the last 25 years has averaged about 10%, which also guarantees your principal and guarantees that you'll never lose any interest that you've earned. So you only participate in the up market. You never participate in the down market. Out of these 3 strategies, which one is most suitable for you? Great. Now I want to give you an example of how the index strategy works. Let's say, for example, you have $10,000 and you put it into the index strategy. The first year it gains 10%. So now your money, your $10,000 has grown to $11,000. Let's say in year 2, you get the same 10% on that $11,000. Now your money has grown to $12,100. Now let's say year 3, the S&P crashes, goes down 20%. Now, has this happened? Surely it's happened. Like I said, ask people over the last 5-10 years. Okay, that $12,100 holds at $12,100. You take no loss. Now, if you'd been in the stock market, you had that $12,100 lose 20%, you're down to $9,600. Which would you rather have, $12,100 or $9,600? Great. Let me just explain to you again how the index strategy works. It works off of the S&P 500. Have you heard of the S&P 500? What it is the 500 most capitalized companies in the United States. They represent about 70% of the American economy. They include companies in technology, healthcare, utilities, etc. Now, as I mentioned to you before, when the S&P, when the interest go when the S&P is up, you participate in the up markets up to a point. We call it a cap. Today our cap is 11.5%. And if the market is down, you don't participate in any losses. Your money would hold. Okay, so it's a great strategy. It's becoming very, very popular. Now, let's talk about your long-term financial independence. There was a guy at age 30 who walked into to the bank and asked his banker, or told his banker that I wanted to have $1 million at age 60. What would I have to do at age 30? So the banker said to him, "Okay, well, this is what you'd have to save on a monthly basis for the next 30 years. I'd give you 5%, and at 5%, which the banks aren't even paying today, you'd have to save $1,639 per month for the next 30 years. The man looked at the banker and said, "There's no way that's going to happen," walked out of the bank, never saved a dime, and now he's a greeter at Walmart. But if we could have showed him how he could win the interest rate battle, instead of getting 5%, he gets 10%. It's reduced from $1,639 per month to $900 per month. Now, can you save $900 a month? Some people can. A lot of people can't. But just showing you the difference between the 5 and 10%, there's a $700 per month savings over 30 years. Now, let's say we can win the rate of return and the tax battle. You get 10% over that 30 years, but instead of being taxed on that money as it accumulates, you get the money's tax deferred, which means you pay taxes at the end. Goes from $900 a month to $438 a month. Can most people afford $438 a month? Can you afford $438 a month? I would say yes, most people, and you probably can as well. Okay, so what we try to show you is how to win not only the interest rate battle, but also the tax battle. This is very important. I'm sure you would agree. Now, if you were financially independent right now, what would you and your wife be doing? What are your dreams? What are your goals? Great. If you were financially independent, what it really does is give you options. It gives you a chance to do whatever it is that you want to do, when you want to do. And at this point, you can do whatever you want. In fact, the other day, I was with one of our clients going through the implementation stage, which is our next meeting. And the wife was really, really excited when we were going through all this information. And what she said to me, she goes, "You know what? I could go door to door asking all my neighbors when they're going to be financially independent, and nobody will know." But the great thing about a plan like this is me and my husband both know exactly when we're going to be financially independent. And it's a great thing to know that. But at that point, it was really funny to me because it gave them some sense of pride, and the husband and wife really became one. Now, that's step 6. We try to do is show you how to get an income stream at retirement that can never outlive you. Okay, and that's important. That's very important. Step 7 is estate planning. What we try to do is show you how to pass money on to your heirs, how to reduce your taxes. Do you have a will? Do you have a living will? If not, we work with several companies that can help you prepare um, these kind of things. It's very important, to have your business in place so that when the time comes, your family doesn't have to go through probate, which could really take up hundreds, if not thousands, of the money. And I'm sure you'd rather have your money go to your family than the federal government. Okay? Now, that's our plan. Now, in order for me to really help you, I have to ask you some questions. And I want you to be as honest with me as you possibly can. For me to get to do the best for you, what I have to do is get the best information. But before I do that, out of those 7 steps that I just went through, inspecting what you expect, increasing your cash flow, eliminating your debt, developing an emergency fund, protecting what you have, building a long-term financial independence, and estate planning, which 2 or 3 of those are most important to you? Great. Now, as I mentioned to you, I need to get some information from you, and quite frankly, I need you to be as honest with me as you can, simply because what I want to do is I want to make this work for you. But in order for me to give you the best results, or put together the best program for you, I need you to be as honest with me as you possibly can. Is that fair? Great. All right. Well, Bob, this is going to be awesome when we get back together in a day or two. You've got $500 a month, and we're going to get back. When I get back to you, you're going to have a crystal clear picture of exactly how and when you could be potentially financially independent. This will help you fulfill all your dreams and goals. You're going to love it. But you're going to need to listen to me. And I'm going to spend some time on this because I know you're serious. And I'm going to be serious too. All right? It's going to be awesome. This is going to change the quality of your life. And you're going to owe me big time. But now it's very important that we build on what we've talked about today. So we need to set up a time to get back together in the next 24 to 48 hours. So we can, again, build on what we learned. Everything is still crystal clear to you. But if I have to get back to you next week, we're going to have to go through all this all over again. So I'd like to get back to you. We need to get back together as soon as possible. Because, Bob, we're talking about your life here. So with that in mind, what's your schedule like tomorrow? I have a 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. open right now. Which one would you prefer? Great. Now, Bob, there's 2 questions that I have to ask you. You're going to love what I'm going through to show you when I return. But, Bob, if I could bring you a plan that you love, and I mean it meets all your needs in every single way, not 80, not 90, but 100%. It heats your chili, so it heats your chili, so to speak. Is there any reason why we can't do business together the day when I return tomorrow? Great. And if we do business together and you love it, and you will, would you feel comfortable referring me to at least 4 or 5 friends, family, business partners that have similar needs? Great. Thanks, Bob. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. It's going to be awesome.